Welcome back, and today as we continue in our program, as we focus on the events surrounding the abduction and the eventual murder of Waiyaki Hinga in Kibwezi. And in our last program, we noted how various mission centers had settled in East Africa. Today, we continue and we say that it was during this phase that the East African Scottish Mission, the first at Kibwezi in 1891 and again at Kikuyu in 1898, played a pioneering role, although designed as something quite separate from the Imperial British East African Company. The Scottish Mission was managed and financed by the company men who believed in Livingstone's formula for Africa, and then who looked to the mission for further, who looked upon the mission to further their personal and imperial ambitions. Now, the three most closely associated with the formation of East African Scottish Mission as the prime mover, administrator, and consultant respectively were Sir William Mackinnon, Mr. Alexander Law Bruce, and Reverend Dr. James Stewart. The idea for a mission originated with Mackinnon. Bruce was appointed first secretary to the mission committee and was given the task of translating Mackinnon's idea into action. A missionary with African experience was required to establish the mission and act as an advisor on method and organization. James Stewart was Mackinnon's choice for this purpose, but while leaving the mundane task of planning and organizing to the others, it was Mackinnon who made the final decision concerning the character and direction of the mission. Even after his death in 1893, Mackinnon's view continued to influence the mission's development throughout. William Mackinnon's life is a classic example of the manner in which a Scottishman of humble origins, but with a flair of commerce, could achieve great personal wealth and public esteem in the service of imperial trade. Mackinnon was born in 1823, the 11th child of poor peasant parents from Arran, who had settled at Campbelltown in Agri. After a brief period of service in the trading house of a Portuguese merchant in Glasgow, he went to India in 1847 to become manager of a sugar mill at Kosipur near Calcutta. Before long, Mackinnon had entered into a trading partnership with a fellow Campbelltonian and general merchant Hazipur, Robert Mackenzie. Mackinnon, Mackenzie and Company, known as free traders in contradiction to merchants of the East Indian Company, traded in any commodity which could be bought and sold at profit. During the gold rush of 1853, cheap brandy for the Australian market was one of their most rewarding items of the trade. Having witnessed some of the first successful ventures in steam-propelled shipping in the Clyde estuary during their youth, the partners were very quick to exploit the potential of steamship trading in eastern waters. At first, they chartered steamships and ran between Glasgow, Liverpool, Calcutta, Chinese and Australian ports, and the United States of America. In 1857, Mackenzie and Company won the contract to ship British troops to India during the mutiny. And as the East India Company declined, Mackinnon's volume of trade in India substantially increased. Mackenzie had died at sea in 1853. Mackinnon, now as head of the trading organization, brought out his nephews and many men from his native county in Scotland to join him in India. And in 1856, with the establishment of the Calcutta and Burma Steam Navigation Company, Mackinnon became a ship owner in his own right. And in 1862, this company was renamed the British India Steam Navigation Company. And by the end of the 1860s, with the enormous trading empire firmly established, Mackinnon retired permanently to Britain to manage his affairs from Glasgow and London. India had given Mackinnon a personal fortune and an enthusiasm for and broad perspective of imperial interests. His service to India earned him public recognition and the gratitude of his government. India, moreover, had groomed him for a position in the British society far removed from that of his earlier life. Now, the gracious host to royalty, members of the aristocracy, and to the men in leading position in national and international affairs, the generous patron of the church and its missionary enterprises, the munificent laid of his respective tenants at Luke and Ballinkar in Kintyre and Straithard in Skye, and the businessman whose interests circled the world, Mackinnon, was to find the status in society and in national affairs which, as a man of humble beginnings, he deeply craved. Mackinnon was described by one of his contemporaries as a little draper, upright man with an aquiline nose, side whiskers, a pouting mouth, and a strutting manner of walking and holding himself. From the same source, there has endured the notion that Mackinnon's deep religious piety made him narrow and unattractive in his personality and manner of living. For now, let's end up there.